Hey everybody, clearing. Okay, we are going to do a Divine Feminine support reading for the week ahead and get into it. So, what can we see? What is the major theme going on in the Divine Feminine's own life? So, aside from the direct connection with the masculines, Eight of Swords in the inverse, so freeing themselves from mental slavery, from thinking too much, from holding back in certain ways. A whole bunch of other cards wanted to come out. Okay, so we also get anticipation of life partnership, making thoughts on that, also looking at money and creature comforts, looking to new ideas and ventures likely, letting themselves think outside the box, I'm hearing, not forcing things, meditating. So there's a nudge here for the Divine Feminines to take some focused time to actually sit in meditation. This is saying that even though you want it to be in flow, Divine Feminines, it also has to be intentional. You also have to, through your free will, set that intention to have these things come to you. So you have to actually say, I want to spend some time thinking about how I can bring more stability or innovation into my life. You still have to do that bit, but it can flow to you once you make that decision to intend. So it's about not being all up in your head and actually beginning. So that could actually be like something, a scenario where this would apply would be that you're wondering about all the stresses in your life, and instead of just going around in circles and saying that it's hopeless and futile, you just take a moment and say, universe, God, divine source, there's got to be a way. Show me how I'm meant to come through this particular obstacle. You know, prayer is a heart wish. So the second that we think of something that we would like to bring movement to, we just have to intend that out, and it doesn't need to be forced. It can go on to autopilot if our heart is in it and we actually are ready for that thing to move in our life, to change and shift. Then we have looking at the timing of the things that have happened in the past as a good thing. So I'm getting there's going to be a little bit of revisiting memories in a new light. The things that maybe have held you back before, you might think that they're not such big deal breakers anymore. You're seeing things from new anomalous angles. Okay, and the energy of third parties. There's something here that is set to also loosen, relax. That doesn't mean healthy boundaries falling or not being in place, but there's something about the way that third party experiences or additional family, friends, lovers, scenarios have been at play, that it wasn't necessarily the end of you, the end of your connection with your counterpart, that there are beneficial, I want to say, side quests that have helped you come into more of a open-minded resilience going forward is what I'm seeing here. Okay, so let's get some advice for the feminines. Let's do each one at a time. What can we see for the Eight of Swords? Ooh, something that fell in the past. Okay, Queen of Water. So not trusting your intuition in the past. This came out in the inverse. So in the past, there have been things that were sticking points that blocked your intuition because it freaked you out and you shut down. So now you're meant to find the solution within the apparent obstacle or limited belief. So instead of just getting offended or shutting down and not considering, if you see something you don't prefer or you don't like, let it go a little bit deeper and use your intuition to ask, to pray, what could this be used as a blessing for? How could divine energy see this particular situation, element, angle in a productive way? So this is saying you're going to go through a spiritual gifts advancement, a level up, because you're not going to want to settle for no as an answer on certain sticking beliefs within you. So that's going to be different for everyone, but it's going to require some personal mastery to tap into what those edges are for each. Okay, what can we see for the anticipation of more money, opportunities? Then now this is on your own. This can be business ventures. This is your creature comfort, your financial well-being. Let's see what we can get for advice regarding financial security is what I just heard. 9 of water. So you've got to wish for it. So I'm hearing, don't wait for your masculine to come save the day. Consider the things that you can channel, that you can divinely, open to, that you can manifest. The 3 of Wands is setting that intention and manifesting things. So it's got to be that heart wish, that prayer. So this is strictly saying, tap into your core and see what you need to pray for, what you need to bring movement to, and then do it. What can we see about meditation? 4 of Swords, and not forcing it, but also setting that, okay, Tower. All right, well, I just heard the universe is going to bring towers to the feminines. They're not going to be horrible towers. This didn't come out in the upright or the reverse. It's kind of neutral, but it's going to be very, very obvious that you need to do something right down to the wire, the nick of time. Like that could be your living situation. It could be finances. It could be so many things, but you are meant to really know that you're in between worlds. You're in between the overburden of the material world and the manifestation of abundance in the spiritual realms. And so there will be things that through a material lens look like towers, but with your spiritual faith, belief, intention, manifestation, you will avoid and avert all towers. I just heard they won't be towers for you. They will be catapults. They will be catalysts. Okay, what can we see for the 5 of Cups? And looking at extra energies in the mix. Sometimes we condemn interactions with other people out of jealousy, out of competition, whatever it may be. There's something here where the information sharing and innovation is going to be expanding rapidly is what I'm hearing. And we get the Wheel of Fortune to clarify that. So there might be new collaborations coming in for the counterparts that are not threatening, that you'll actually feel are not infringing on your dynamic. And the past version of you might have had your hair up on end about not letting other energies in. But this is divinely guided. So there does seem to be a new approach to multiple factors or aspects. Aside from just the 2 counterparts, it seems to be other people coming in to assist the divine plan right now, I just heard. And I keep hearing the word innovation. Okay, let's have a look at how divine feminines can, in more specific ways, best take care of these energies. So about the intuition in this upcoming week, getting out of one's mind, what is the best approach for the divine feminines regarding expanding their intuition? We get the Emperor in the inverse and the Page of Wands. So this is prayer and not waiting for your masculine to really, there's like a wind in your sails for innovation right now. And it feels like with the Emperor here on the table, but not in the upright, they're working on their own set of circumstances. But you're meant to pray about and consider, because the Emperors are here, the masculines are here, consider them, but don't prioritize them in your financial well-being, your financial picture right now. So this is saying, pray about how your masculine fits in, but focus on what you need to do. Don't be in waiting for that. And so that was one of the main blockages that's coming through here about the feminines holding back and being in waiting energy, not using intuition or feeling defeated because you're not digging deeper personally as you can with regard to your own sovereign and side of this energy. Okay, what can we see about tapping into your heart's wish fulfillment and the areas that need to expand? The Five of Wands. So this is interesting because we got the message that other people are going to be influencing and being divinely guided into your life for a purpose at this time, for a divine mission. But we're also seeing that some are going to be released. This can be things that aren't value-added thoughts or not applicable to where you're actually going, maybe associated with the old you and not the person that you're coming into the embodiment of. And so this prayer, this abundance, this means that maybe you already have enough, but you are spread thin and it's time to consolidate or streamline. Maybe you're lacking and it's time to stop diverting your energy to people, places, and things that are not in alignment with the things that you actually want to be focusing on. Okay, now we're going to get these towers. What is the best advice about these towers? Towers that aren't towers, but the meditation and all that. Okay, Ten of Swords. So this is rock bottom. So I'm hearing, what is approaching you now? Financial trouble, living situation, a squeeze in certain dynamics with certain people, whatever it is, this is the final breaking point. I just heard if glass breaks around you, it's a sign that you're passing the threshold of suffering into a breakthrough, a new idea. So we have this sword here. The Ace of Swords is what, oh my goodness, I just saw the tower on the back of that deck as well. But I was just about to talk about the Ace of Swords that's highlighted when this Four of Swords is in the inverse, and say that the Ten of Swords reduces to the truth. After this rock bottom, we get that epiphany, we get that direction, we get that new lease on life. So we got the Tower twice, and then that Ace of Swords confirmed by it visually there, and the Ten of Swords. So there are breakthroughs coming through. These are epiphanies that are set to come to you, but you have to set the intention. You have to be consciously aware of the theme that you're wishing to have this momentum on for you to solve what these towers would be. So if you're not moving in the realm of possibilities, prayers, vision, and you're just going through the mundane motions, you might have a very difficult time, or those who are doing that in this energy will have a very difficult time. Those who can pinpoint what the stressors are, what the things are that are no longer a fit, and just simply say to Divine Source, show me what can be done about this. Those are going to come out victorious. Those are the ones that are moving the wheel of fortune for the ascension right now, is those of faith, those of perception, those of vision. Okay, and now we're going to move on to this blessing coming in, like the provision coming in. So what can we see about other energies being divinely guided into these connections that are not going to be threats? I just saw the Two of Wands, so that's stepping out of comfort zone, but it also highlights the counterparts. Knight of Wands. So yeah, there's people who are passionately being magnetized towards the divine counterparts right now for collaboration. So this is really beautiful because it's lighting a fire for innovation and creativity right now. Okay, mingling and mixing, I just heard. So say yes to social engagements right now, because there's a lot of passion and a lot of interesting. The divine wheel doesn't turn if we're going to mishandle. I mean, you can mishandle a divine blessing for sure, but I'm feeling that because we've come through in more non-attachment, we can take these very charismatic, passionate, attractive energies, and we can actually use it energetically, spiritually, instead of sexualizing it or demeaning it or making it a threat regarding your relationship. These incredibly attractive people that are coming in are so attractive because they are also bright lights and also so ready to move this ascension forward on the planet. So some very good things are coming in for the divine counterparts. I'm looking at the Fool now at the bottom, and it's upside down, so it's not quite time, but it's coming. So I would say to the end of the week there should be some epiphanies. Now let's see, how does this apply to your divine masculine? So the freeing of the mind here with the Emperor showing up in the reverse. What do we get? Protection, cave. Okay, so right now, feminines, you really are being drawn into this cave, into hermit mode, into not taking a lot of action. That doesn't mean you're not meant to be social, like that one message said. It just means being in yourself with regard to what it should, could, would look like in your life if your masculine was there right now. It's like your masculine is being hidden for just a little while longer here so that you can tap in first person to what you need to do to free your mind, to see things differently, to tap into your faith. So you're not making your masculine God and waiting on them for the provision or the innovation, those things. They will come in, but your inner masculine needs to anchor these things with source. And the cave is also speaking of that inner masculine energy that needs to reside in you, where you're capable, where you're taking action in your life, where you're accountable for your scenario, feminines. When you're doing that for yourself, your masculine can come in, and you're both entrusted with the proper dynamic then, because you both have the proper dynamic internally. So this is all about what's going on inside of you. So really ask yourself if there is anything that you are reluctant to do for yourself that you are awaiting your masculine to bring into your life. See if you can ever so slightly give those same things to yourself. Wiggle that a little bit more to the self-empowerment, self-embodiment. That does not mean at the expense of your masculine or despite your masculine. This means at this time, while you are preparing for union, that you are learning this skill on your own. Okay, and so money, foundation, letting go of certain things, praying about it, setting intention. How does this relate to your masculines? Bravery, ocean. So there's a lot of emotion. This is one of the things that your masculine is going to be falling in love with. This is like the feminine walking on water, pulling out miracles. You know, nothing says that's my feminine like a badass manifestation. I just heard guru, somebody that can actually embody what is needed first person to make the world a better place. And it's going to be miraculous. But right now it is about you tapping into your specific gifts, talents, perceptions, and committing yourself to this service, feminines. You may not know what it is. I've often said that we don't know what our true path of service is, but we follow the spiritual breadcrumbs, and one day someone says, did you ever imagine in a million years you da-da-da-da-da? And you say, oh my goodness, the thought did cross my mind, and then I got so busy with all of the things that led up to this that I forgot I intended it, and here it is. Wow, thank you for reminding me. I just felt teary. So some of you might start to see that coming in this week, which is a union readiness marker, is what I just heard. So yeah, your masculine is seeing you bravely go onward. They know how much bravery it must take for you to be sovereign and them not come forward yet, because I've said it again so many times that the masculine's holding back from stepping up to these unions in so many ways is a testament of their divine faith, because they know the pull is extreme. They have wanted to rush in. They've wanted to save you at times. They've wanted to be saved. They've wanted to come in and have that comfort, but they've leaned into source. They've wanted to relieve you of that of that struggle, but they've allowed you to blossom towards source. So this is another one of those growing pains, potentially feminines, but it's going to catapult you higher. It's about setting your intention and leaving old ways, people, places, and things for next level. So set your intentions in very specific, meaningful ways to you with the specific awarenesses you can have about your life and your circumstances that are not feeling authentic to you anymore. Anything you do with your time, energy, resources that doesn't feel quite right, it feels off, find ways to balance that or diminish it or release those things that are no longer a fit. And then be curious. Just simply pose this question: what could be an improvement on what I've been coping with or struggling with or putting up with? And begin to see those areas in your life that could be polished or more flowing or better, and get on it, and just do the steps that you see in front of you. What can we see for the 10 of Pentacles and all these, or 10 of Swords actually, and all these towers going on? 10 of Pentacles is an interesting slip because that is long-term financial abundance. Wow, movement, speed, right. So this is, at this point, what is holding the feminines back from this great momentum. And I'm getting that if you just take one iota of time, intention, a mustard seed, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. Take that leap. Look at this person with this movement. There is an instantaneous momentum that comes in if you just look at what is daunting and limiting you, and you say, show me a way. This is what I want to manifest. This is what I want to bring movement to. And then watch how the universe conspires to assist you. We've got the Wheel of Fortune coming in. So now let's look at this Knight of Wands, these passionate individuals in the mix that are divinely placed in our lives. What can we see with how that is connected to your masculine? Oh boy, we got a bazillion. We got 2 in the future face down. We got 2 in the past and 1 in the present. So the past energies, we have beginnings and attraction, both in the inverse. Okay, so I was saying these are very attractive. So for many, there's somebody that you've already met that has a very, I just heard seductive, spiritual, or sexual attractiveness to them. And you're not quite sure who, what, where, when, why this person has shown up in your life. There's like a chemistry that might be more synergistic as a spiritual force than a material partnership. So if somebody is coming to mind, just know they are divinely guided in your life right now, but do not think too hard about them being a replacement for your masculine, because these cards of beginnings and attraction came out in the inverse. So whatever this is might be stalled, waylaid, or this could be a sign that you're not meant to sexualize this connection. You're actually meant to really prioritize the passion that comes with this person, and maybe even keep it in the friend bucket, because it could be channeled into something very abundant and interesting. So that's in the past. In the future, we get to make equal, the equator. So it's also very possible that you've been sent someone that would have been a sexual temptation, a karmic temptation in the past, and that this is to temper you from sexualizing people that come into your life for divine reasons, and to focus back on what is balanced here. And how does this relate to your masculine going into the future? So that would relate to your masculine, because if your masculine is your divine person, you won't have to overthink these other people coming in. You will just count the blessing that it's yet another beautifully divinely guided soul that's been brought in to share collaborations and partnerships and beautiful energy. And then we get life and purity. Yeah, so what did I say? Somebody has likely come into all of our lives that is curious, anomalous, and has a sexual, creative energy to them. But then we have life and purity. So that aliveness is meant to be seen as a spiritual thing. So this is the key to not falling prey to temptation, is to definitely see things in a more energetic, spiritual, momentous way than sexualizing, possibly cheapening. So yeah, beginnings in the inverse might have been a false start, or the appearance of something that came in like a gust of wind I just heard, and then made you stop in your tracks, and now you're like, what is this? And then we've got a purification and this breath of life, the celebration of life, individuals who have life, and that we are going to be meeting with our soul family more and more, which will feel like an incredible deep pull to connect. But we're not meant to be sexualizing this at this time. That actually dilutes the energy. Okay, let's get a final card and do the connection space for the counterparts. So what is the core connective energy this week for the counterparts? Feminines on the left, masculines on the right, near future up above, and connection space. Okay, feminines have victory this week, and we've got this passionate soul purpose, and the masculines are coming towards the light. Isn't that interesting how the feminines are tapping into purpose? There's a shared purpose in the middle here, and the masculines are going towards the light of this true alignment that's coming in, because the feminines are tapping into their soul purpose, their divine purpose in their own right, fully, without distraction. They're not waiting for the masculines to join in any longer. I'm hearing for those who are still waiting for your masculines to arrive and say, let's do this, for the go ahead. This week might be a pivot point where you actually get a green light that blows your mind, because your masculine not coming in, I'm hearing, might have been one of these perceived towers. So instead of, this is for some, not all of the masculines haven't come in on a purpose level, and it's okay if your masculine doesn't. I'm not saying that the masculines will not come in a more collaborative way here, but that is one of the towers for many here, is that they may not have come in, and it doesn't need to be looked at as though that is a deal breaker. I'm cycling back to that first message. So the masculines are being drawn towards this, but I'm just also being taken with this feminine going to the light first. And so right now, anybody who is setting intentions and wanting to bring momentum to their abundance and divine purpose, they are being guided towards the light right now. And a balance, give and take. So the masculines are not meant to provide everything for the feminine. The feminines must learn that balanced way of caring for themselves on every level to be the match for a divine masculine, and the divine masculines must also allow the feminines to come into that. Yeah, there is something very interesting going on with magnetizing soul family right now. So pretty soon I'm hearing the masculines are going to be asking the feminines for their purity. The rose in this card is a pink rose, and it signifies purity and softness and gentleness, and we got that purity card here. So there's something elegant in the way that this reading is talking about viewing other people as non-threats, but also not sexualizing very charismatic, divinely placed individuals coming into our lives. That is a little bit like walking out on the edge of the cliff when we're looking at interpersonal relationships, romantic relationships, and really fired up, attractive people coming in. But you know, that's going to drive so much. There's so much aliveness coming through these collaborations. We've had to train in discernment of frequencies, very in depth on this journey, to be able to split the hairs with sexual and spiritual energies so that we have profound trust with our divine counterparts going onward in our lifetimes with these incredibly charismatic people coming in, and not go into fear, not go into competition or lack or jealousy. So this is going to be one of the things I'm hearing, the stronghold of the sexual repression that causes us to get sexual tension with opposite gender, or with those who we'd want to date or we think our partner would be interested in. There's something being eradicated, I just heard, from the human collective, because the spiritual mission is becoming more important. It's outshining. Look at this light. It's outshining the sexual repression, and we're bringing in soul family in spiritual radiance coming in to assist in groups now. We're these imaginal cells where we're all doing the work, and now we're meeting up in teams, in collaborations that are non-threatening to these dynamics as counterparts. How beautiful. So in some ways, I'm also feeling that the masculines are going to be asking for the feminine's hand in these aligned relationships. It feels from the energy of this card that the masculines have been nervous to stand up, show up, approach, and say they would like that, because they also have felt like you would go with others. They haven't felt confident enough to say those words out loud. Would you be mine? That sounded like I quoted Bob Marley. I meant to say, would you be mine? Yeah, beautiful. So it looks like the masculines are going to ask to go deeper here with equality, but mostly because they're overcoming the insecurity that they are not enough, that they might fall out of the contending for your partnership, feminines. So there is a purity coming in. Masculines, be brave if you're watching this, because the feminines have a whole host of radical individuals coming in this week, potentially, or already for some, and you don't have to be intimidated by that. And feminines, don't second guess if the people that you are drawing in are fiercely attractive but not the same as your counterpart. Acknowledge that and start praying and setting those intentions. What is this person in my life then for? What is the meaning of this person in my life then now? If I'm not seeing them as an option because my masculine is better. I'm hearing also one of the greatest tests of faith is that these masculines haven't necessarily fully shown up yet, but this is an approach. And so down to the wire, you may not know if your masculine seems to fit the energy of those that are about to come forward. And with these incredible people coming in, you might be wondering, am I being given an out? Is this a sign that my masculine isn't coming in? All that stuff. So again, I'm getting meditate, feminines, because your heart does know the answer to those questions. And this is the process of confirming and affirming that knowing of who your masculine really is, one way or the other. Some will be one way and some will be the other. Some will know and confirm their masculine is who they believe them to be, and some may feel like they are not when they really think about it, knowing that they may have options now. So there's a whole lot of a spectrum here of what's going to play out. But yes, okay. It looks good here. It looks like there's a lot of building and growth, aliveness coming in. All right, many blessings, everyone. Bye for now.